Hey there, thanks for joining me today. This is Laura Lynn with Keep Inking Up. I'm an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up! In San Antonio, Texas. And today I wanted to share some basic tips when using alcohol markers. I'll be using our Stampin' Up! Blends markers in today's demonstration, but any of these tips can certainly be used with any brand of alcohol markers that you may have. So I hope that you don't turn off simply because you're not using Stampin' Up! Blends markers. The first tip that I want to share is you want to use a good quality cardstock. I'll be using our basic white cardstock. I'm not sure if you can see on this video, but our basic white has a kind of like a special coating. It's a super smooth cardstock, and what that means is the alcohol in the markers is going to blend really well on this cardstock. So if you are having frustrations with your alcohol markers not blending really well, I do recommend that you try to use a higher quality cardstock than you currently are, and maybe that will take care of that frustration problem for you. The next thing is what kind of ink to use. The absolute ink that you do not want to use is Stays On ink. Now, a lot of people will think, oh, Stays On ink is a permanent ink, so it's an ink that you'd want to use. Unfortunately, Stays On ink is an alcohol-based ink. So when you use an alcohol-based marker with an alcohol-based ink, they are going to blend. They are going to you're going to lose the definition of the stamped image. So you're going to see a lot of people are going to recommend the Memento Tuxedo Black ink because this is a water-based ink. And I absolutely recommend this as well if you want black images. Personally, I don't like to stamp a lot of my images in black. I tend to like to stamp my sentiments in black, but not my images. So I'm actually going to be using today our basic gray ink for our stamped image. We have a selection of 48 colors, so I would much prefer to stamp my images in one of our colors and then color them with the Stampin' Blends. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up so it's ready to ink, and I'm going to be using a cute owl image from the Adorable Owls stamp set. Let me bring that in for you so you can see it. This is the Adorable Owls stamp set. This is one of our free choices during Celebration. Right now, between now and the end of February 2023, you can choose anything from this catalog with a qualifying order. This Adorable Owl stamp set is free with a $50 order. There's some adorable samples in this catalog as well. But I'm going to be using this flying owl from that stamp set. I'm going to actually stamp it twice because I want to show you a couple of different tips when coloring. And again, this is basic gray ink on our basic white cardstock. But I'm going to close up that ink pad before I get it anywhere. And before I get into the coloring tips, I do want to share some of the card samples that I have made with this owl stamp set. This one is really cute, and I added some texture on it with a retired embossing folder, but isn't that adorable? I just love these owls. They're so cute. Then this one I combined with some papers and a die cut from a recent paper pumpkin. And the sentiment is from that paper pumpkin as well. But this is another cute owl that from that stamp set. Here's another one where I used the mirroring technique to get the owl flying in the opposite direction. And I added some shimmery hearts too. And this is a square card. You don't always have to make a standard size card. Here's another kind of a scene card with balloons. I can't remember where the balloons came from, but here's a birthday owl. I love the green of the eyes, so I brought in green for the grass. You don't have to always stamp on the basic white. You do want to stamp on a quality cardstock, but here you'll see I stamped on our crumb cake cardstock, which again is a high quality cardstock. It does look a little different. The colors look a little different on there, but I thought that was super cute as well with that owl. And here's one of the owls with the bow tie. Isn't that adorable? It's so cute. Anyway, colored him as well. He has some beautiful violet eyes. And then here's another birthday card with the birthday owl, and I had some of the snowfall accent puff paint from the holiday catalog. I still had that on hand, and so anyway, there's another cute card. So anyway, you can see that I've used these adorable owls on a lot of different ways and some different card samples. But back to the coloring of these owls. So I'm going to use just a few Stampin' Blends. I'm going to begin with the Light Pumpkin Pie marker blends, and I'm just going to color the beak. And I'm just going to kind of barely hit the paper with the marker because I don't want to go outside the lines. I'm going to go ahead and do that for both of these owls. Just kind of tapping the paper. I'm using the bullet tip. Oh, I forgot to mention, our markers do come with a bullet tip, which is what I used, as well as a brush tip. You want to make sure you cap that click there. We do have a brush tip, which is good for larger areas. Let me see. I think that I used the brush tip when I did the background of the sky in this card because it covered a lot more area. But normally I prefer to use the bullet tip. Next, I'm going to take the Balmy Blue and again use the bullet tip for the eyes. And what is really great about these images is there is this little white dot in the eyes, so I don't want to color that part because that really gives a lot of character and charm to these owl images. So I'm just coloring in the eyes. Again, leaving that white dot. Close the caps so they don't dry out. Then I'm going to take the light gray granite and I'm going to color the face and the belly of this owl. And what I want you to notice is I'm just kind of scribbling this marker on. You don't need to be super careful. I mean, we don't want to go out of the edges, although if you do, we do have the color lifter that you can maybe fix some mistakes, but what I want you to really pay attention to is even though I'm scribbling, there's not any marker lines showing, and that is the beauty of these alcohol markers or any alcohol markers. They really make you feel like an artist because you can just color and you'll end up with nice smooth coloring of the area. So I'm going to do the belly and then I'll bring this up to you so you can see how smooth the coloring is. And like I said, it's one of the important parts is having a smooth cardstock, but then having the alcohol markers just really helps. So that's all I'm going to do for that. Then I'm going to take our light smoky slate, again take the bullet tip, and I'm going to color in, this is a little slightly, this is a warmer, no, this is a cooler gray. So I'm going to color in the rest of the head of the owl, and again I'm just kind of scribbling it on. I'm not worrying too much. Just trying to stay in the lines. If I go outside the lines, it's okay. Remember, this is handmade, and if you have a little bit of white showing, that's okay too. It's kind of a nice look. Okay, so there is a finished owl. It is colored completely. Oh, you know what? I forgot the inside of the ears. I'm going to go back to the light gray granite and add just a little bit in the inside of those ears. But right now you've got a finished colored owl. No fancy blending done, nothing, no layering added, just a simple coloring, and that is perfect to use on any project. But I'm going to step up a little bit on this particular owl, although I am going to go back and just use the light gray granite. Yes, I'm going to use the light gray granite for the face and belly again on this other one. And I don't know about you, but I find coloring to be quite relaxing, a little mesmerizing actually. And you can do this anytime that you find some free time, although I know few of us have free time these days, but whenever you do, just kind of stamp some images and do a little bit of coloring, and these alcohol markers just make this such an enjoyable experience because you end up with an amazingly colored image without much effort. I mean, you're not seeing, I'm not doing a whole lot. So I've got him all colored on the inside, but now I'm going to do a little bit of blending. So this time I'm going to use the dark and the light of the smoky slate. Our blends markers do come in combo packs, so when you order them, they will come in this 2-pack for $9 in the United States. which makes it really easy to know how to blend. You don't have to calculate or figure out which markers to use. You know that these will go together really well. So I'm going to start actually with the dark smoky slate, and I'm going to come on the ears and the sides of the head here, and maybe down here toward the nose, the beak, I guess it's not a nose. And then I'm going to go back to the light color and blend right there in those areas, and then go over the rest of the head with the light. And I think that I got rid of the darkness, so I'm going to go and add a little bit more of the dark in those 3 points, just to add a little bit more depth, and then come back and blend that out just a smidge. So now I've got some shading. There's quite a bit of difference between this one and this one, as you can see. But this one is absolutely fine. I would be more than pleased to put that on a project. But this one just adds, kind of steps up a little bit, adding a little bit more dimension. So then I'll go ahead and continue coloring his body. I'm going to add some dark right under the head, and then I'm going to add just a little bit of dark on the bottom of his wings and a little bit here underneath the wing. And then I'll go back to the light, blend that out, and color in the rest of the body. And then once again, it looks like I think I kind of lost a little bit of the darkness, so I'll go back and add a little bit more of the dark, just to get a little bit more definition, just here and there. It's up to you. If you like the way it is, you can leave it the way it is. But you can add and blend as much as you want. Let's see, I'll make sure I put these caps back on so you hear the click, so those markers don't dry out. But there you can see the difference. This one has a little bit more definition, a little bit more depth, because I've blended with the dark. But this one is absolutely fine as well, with just straight coloring. Now, one thing that you can do to this one that's just been straight colored is you can add a little bit of our watercolor pencil. This is our basic black, and I'm just going to add some lines to look like feathers. And that can just help it add a little bit more depth, more character, without a lot of effort. And there you've got the owl that looks like it has a little bit of feathering with the watercolor pencil. Okay, so I hope that you learned a couple of tips about using alcohol markers. Again, you can use these tips with any brand of alcohol markers that you may have. Most important is the good quality paper with a dye-based ink. And then you can just color as you want. So thanks again so much for joining me. I will provide links to the products that I've used in the description below this video. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.